We begin with breaking news on the Air Canada dispute. The airline now says it hopes to resume flights tomorrow evening. It had hoped to restart operations later today, but it has announced that it's suspending that plan to provide 240 flights after more than 10,000 striking flight attendants refused to return to work at 2 p.m. Eastern as directed by the Canada Industrial Relations Board. Instead, the employees have picketed several airports across the country, including Toronto's Pearson International, Montreal, Calgary, and Vancouver. 9 months of contract talks broke down early yesterday, leading the federal government to intervene and referred the dispute to a binding arbitration. We'll bring you the reaction from the flight attendants union, CUPE, to Air Canada's latest statement about an operational restart as soon as we get it. For more, I'm joined by CBC's Linda Ward. She has been at Canada's busiest airport all day. It has been a busy day, a loud day, I imagine, for Linda. Let's start with this latest statement from Air Canada talking about a restart. Tell us what we know.
Well, we know that there's a lot of disappointed travelers in this terminal right now, Eli, because many of them had been expecting that flights were going to start up again this evening. But now what we're hearing from the airline in an official statement saying that they won't be resuming flights this evening as announced. And that announcement was made after the CIRB ordered these striking flight attendants back to work this hour. I can tell you I'm looking out the window and they're still on the picket line, so they are not heading back to work. They said they would not be obeying that order. So now the union saying that they won't go, that changes things. And Air Canada's official statement saying it has now suspended its plan to resume limited flying after CUPE illegally, they say, directed its members to defy a direction from the CIRB to return to work. The airline will resume flights as of tomorrow evening. So 240 more flights now have been canceled. I was just speaking with a gentleman here who was trying to get to Belgium literally 10 minutes ago, was given tickets to a flight that has now been canceled. So as I say, a lot of people pretty disappointed here. They're saying that they will notify customers if their flights are canceled. But the people that I'm talking to in this terminal say they haven't been able to get through on the phone lines. And even if they are able to get through, there isn't much that the airline has been able to do for them. And some people I spoke with are at their wits' end. Take a listen to this guy.
Coming from Dubai, and I'm stuck here. I'm going to Edmonton. WestJet is asking $8,000. What am I supposed to do? Federal government, oh, we are democratic. We were going to handle it. We're going to what? Handle what? A kid can handle it. You knew strike is coming. Stop giving interviews. Stop giving interviews. Do your job.
I have been here, Eli, since Thursday, and I can tell you that travelers have been pretty easygoing up till this point. But as of this afternoon, the frustration has been growing, and you can feel it in the terminal.
I just can't imagine the atmosphere as that 2 p.m. Eastern deadline approached and then the situation changed. Can you talk to us more about just where negotiations are or aren't and what more you're hearing from the union?
Well, let's show you what's going on outside, as I say, because just outside this terminal here, there are people who have been on the picket lines all day. CUPE saying that they aren't budging. They are staying on the picket lines. 2 o'clock, Eli, was the time that they were supposed to be headed back to work, and it is 2 o'clock. And they are still out here on the picket lines, getting louder every hour, it seems. They say that they are sorry for the disruption, but they were at a breaking point. The head of CUPE's Air Canada component spoke with me after the rally today, and here's what he said.
We're not willing to accept binding arbitration at this stage. We're here to negotiate a collective agreement, something that we can now see was put on hold by Air Canada, awaiting this decision. We're just not going to accept it at this time. The union has been available the whole time. The last time we saw the employer was the night prior to the strike. They brought a counter offer to wages that was still well below par. They didn't address unpaid work or anything else. So they haven't come to the table because this was the plan all along. And we're not willing to accept that.
So now the deadline has come and gone. These flight attendants still on the picket line here. I asked Lasowski what kind of penalties, what kind of ramifications they may be facing. He said he didn't know, but that was a risk that he was willing to take. I'm also just going to mention that we have reached out to the Minister of Jobs, Patty Hajdu, for an updated statement regarding the union defying the order to return to work and Air Canada's latest announcement here. We are expecting to hear more from the minister in the coming hours. Eli.
Thank you, Linda. Yeah, Air Canada has talked about resuming flights as of tomorrow evening, but given the scene around you and what you've been hearing, Linda, it looks like we're very far away from that at this moment. That is CBC's Linda
Indeed.
Ward in Toronto. So our next guest was supposed to fly home from Zurich back home to Toronto today when Air Canada canceled her flight early this morning. Lila Rousseaux joins us from Zurich to share what happened next. So, Lila, thank you so much for making time with us for what must be a very trying time. Walk us through what the past few days have been for yourself and your family.
It's been absolutely awful. So we knew the strike was coming. The recommendations was always to wait for the flight to be canceled. I never wanted a refund. I wanted always Air Canada to bring my family back home to Toronto. So I was waiting for the flight to be canceled when the announcement that the strike was happening on Saturday morning. We were walking around Zurich doing nothing, waiting for the cancellation. So I had my phone in my hand the whole Saturday. I was waiting for the cancellation so that I could make my plans. I didn't know if I had to stay in Zurich, for how long, whether to book a hotel, where will my kids going to sleep that night or the next night or the next night, whether to tell in my job that it was going to coming back or not. So it was awful. Nothing happened on Saturday. That's my biggest problem.
Now, I understand the flight was eventually rebooked. I mean, I just imagine you wandering around Zurich where you can't even look at the buildings because you're just stuck on your phone, but the flight was rebooked. But talk to us about I wonder if you experienced turbulence in that experience.
Yes, so the flight cancellation came at 12:30 in the morning. I was sleeping, but still checking my phone. I called Air Canada, got a call back after 4 hours. It was not right away. And I'm an Aeroplan 50K, so I have priority, and I was still had to wait 4 hours. I spent 1.5 hours on the phone with the agent, lots of turbulence. So there were a lot of inflexibility in terms of what can be done. So I found a lot of flights available from different cities. I told the agent I can take a train to Amsterdam. No, because that's a different itinerary, so I would have to charge you. I asked the agent whether I can fly in to the United States. I was looking at Rochester, Detroit. My family was willing to rent a car and go to Toronto. No, that's a different itinerary, so that's not allowed either.
So it sounds as if there's some real serious restrictions in terms of how they can route you and try and get you back home.
Correct. And also flights that I found myself, they were telling me that they don't have those flights available, that they don't have all the flights available, that it's not the same that I saw in the website. And I checked Air France, KLM. I found a good flight from KLM that was not available. What it meant, I don't know.
I wonder how your conversations have been with your family, with your children at this time.
Well, now we've been rerouted with an awful flight, overnight flight to Atlanta. So we have to my flight was 8 hours direct. I paid for that. Now we are taking 10 hours to Atlanta overnight, another flight. We are not seated together. So my kids and I, because this is Delta, we are not seated together. The distress in my family is very acute. My kids are, the only thing that says, Mom, we love this trip. We want to come back home.
It's tough to hear that. It must be tough for you at this time. And I certainly hope that flight with your kids separated goes smoothly. But I wonder in general how you feel about flying with Air Canada in the future. I mean, we don't see these kind of strikes very often. In fact, it's been decades. And as you say, you're very much a frequent flyer with lots of points. So what are you thinking about, and who are you thinking about booking with for your next trip?
Well, that's another conversation that we have within the family. It's not easy. I fly all over the place, so it's not one route, which is the only carrier that takes me within Canada to the US, to Europe, and to South America. There's only one. So the choices that I have are not so many. But whether it's a strike or not a strike, I was hoping to have a better treatment from Air Canada, better communication, better sensitivity with the passengers. So the answer to your question is very valid, and I don't have a good answer. We talked a lot in our walks with the kids and my spouse.
Well, I wish you safe travels and that you finally get home and get home safe. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. That is Lila Rousseaux in Zurich.